Drake and Josh is one of the few shows I can think of that still manages to be extremely funny, even when very little action is occurring in the plot. Season 4 features a handful of episodes where the two brothers are stuck somewhere together, and the entertainment comes purely from the way the two of them interact while trapped in the situation with one another. In Vicious Tiberius, they're stuck in a bathroom with a vicious dog on the other side of the door. In Helicopter, they're stuck on, you guessed it, a helicopter with no skydiving instructor and not enough parachutes. And in the iconic Treehouse, they're trapped in, you guessed it, a treehouse that they built after forgetting to install an exit door. And since I already covered all the episodes I just mentioned, it only seems right that I finally take a look back at The Wedding, one of the most famous stuck episodes from season 4 of Drake and Josh, that features Drake and Josh stuck on the side of the road when their car breaks down on the way to a wedding. And I gotta say, some of the comments requesting this episode have been some of the most aggressive comments I've ever yet received. And you know what? I respect that. I respect the passion. And as always, if there's any other episodes or shows you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. I'm super excited to take a look back at this one because if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that the stuck episodes are some of my favorite in the entire Drake and Josh series. So let's dive in. So we start off the cold open with Drake and Josh talking about their crusty old Aunt Catherine, who's mean, nasty, and whose flesh is basically rotting away since she's 90 goddamn years old. And guess what? The old hag is getting married. And this is one of the few Drake and Josh episodes where part of the plot is explicitly introduced in the cold open. Usually at most they kind of hint at a theme of the episode and do some foreshadowing. Like in Eric Punches Drake, for example, Drake chuckles about spreading some funny rumors in the cold open, which sets the stage for the episode's main conflict, where he becomes the target of some crazy gossip himself. Also, the end of the cold open makes no sense because it's revealed that Drake and Josh are right next to each other and can hear each other, but then why did Josh have to clarify Drake's opinion about whether or not he hates Aunt Catherine?
Josh and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but I bet he hates Aunt Catherine just as much as I do.
I wonder if Drake hates Aunt Catherine as much as I do. Do you?
Totally.
He already said it out loud. He shouldn't have to. So right after the cold open where Drake and Josh say Aunt Catherine's getting married, we cut to Drake all dressed up in a tux for the wedding. After some loud beeping keeps coming from the driveway, he yells, "Hey Walter, cool it with the horn." And fun fact, Walter actually does not appear in this episode at all. He's never seen. Audrey and Megan are all dressed up for the wedding too, and damn, Miss Parker. All right, okay, I see you. But even though she looks great in the dress, I do have to point out that she asks Megan to zip her up in the back, which Megan does, but there's clearly no zipper on the back of the dress! Craig and Eric then show up to pick something up from Josh, but he's still in his room getting ready. And then in the form of a reminder from Mom, we get the main plot of this episode explained. Drake and Josh are the ones delivering the cake to the wedding, and it has to be there on time and in perfect condition, or else Aunt Catherine will be very upset. And since she's gonna croak soon, the family needs to impress her to stay on her good side because they want her goddamn beach house. What could possibly go wrong? Megan and Audrey take off, and Drake finds out the nerds are there to borrow Josh's laptop. But since Josh still hasn't come downstairs, Drake just hands them Josh's bag, presumably with the laptop inside of it, and tells them to fuck off.
Tell Josh I'll bring this back to him
Josh comes downstairs looking like he's dressed for the Democratic National Convention, and he asks Drake where the hell his satchel is. When Drake says he gave it to the nerds, Josh freaks out.
Why'd you give him the whole case? It had my cell phone in it and my keys to Mom's SUV. Now we have no car.
Drake tells him to chill his titties and says, let's just call Craig and Eric and tell them to bring it back. But Josh points out that Eric's cell phone is broken because Papa Nichols threw it against the wall, which is honestly a great callback to the episode The Demonator. But it's pretty unfortunate for Eric that he never got his cell phone replaced because the Demonator episode where Papa Nichols destroys it happened back in season 3. And we're now on the 3rd episode of season 4, which is plenty of time for Eric to have gotten gotten a new phone. And come to think of it, shouldn't Drake and Josh's family have replaced it for him? I mean, that would have been the right thing to do since it got damaged when he was babysitting their elderly relative, right? Another thing, even if Craig doesn't have a phone and Eric's phone is broken, they took the bag that has Josh's phone inside of it! It shouldn't matter that neither one of the nerds themselves has a phone, because they could just call Josh's phone over and over until the nerds pick up! But whatever, they're dumb for not thinking about that, I guess. Drake says, I know, let's ask Trevor for a car. And he's talking about the same Trevor who gives them the dune buggy all the way back in season 1, in the second ever episode of the show. However, Taran Killam does not appear in this episode, but it's a cool throwback nonetheless, and I love that Trevor always has a weird car for Drake and Josh to have. So Drake calls up Trevor to ask to borrow his El Camino, and then we cut right away to the car breaking down on the side of the road. And if you're an iCarly fan, you may recognize this set because it's the same background used in the iCarly movie, I Go to Japan. San Diego, Japan, what's the difference, right? We are officially 7 minutes into the episode now, and we have reached the location that Drake and Josh will spend the entire rest of the episode stuck in.
Oh, good news is we're right near a nothing.
And I think it's worth mentioning, out of all the stuck episodes in the Drake and Josh series, this one commits the hardest to being the stuckiest. We are now officially in the stuck location with 16 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the episode. And out of all of the episodes, that is one of the longest amounts of time we as the viewer are kept trapped anywhere with Drake and Josh. To compare, in Treehouse, Josh secures the doorless wall into place, effectively trapping them in the treehouse with 12 minutes and 33 seconds left to go in the episode, which is 53.05% of the screen time during that episode. In Helicopter, they're only officially stuck in the helicopter for 8 minutes and 53 seconds, which is 37.8% of the episode. And in Vicious Tiberius, if we consider the entire time Drake and Josh are trapped at Miss Hayfair's house, they were stuck for 11 minutes and 15 seconds, which is only 47.4% of the episode. That means percentage-wise, the wedding is by far the ballsiest episode of the bunch. It leaves us trapped with Drake and Josh, relying on nothing but their comedic chemistry as a duo for an impressive 70.4% of the episode, which is the longest amount of time we see Drake and Josh stuck anywhere. Kind of epic, kind of amazing, kind of took me a long time to add up all the runtime of those episodes, but whatever. So Drake and Josh are stuck on the side of the road with the cake in the back, and honestly, how are they driving without that thing falling over? It shakes a little bit just from the movement of them exiting the car. It's not strapped down or anything. That thing would have tipped right over going highway speeds. Let's be real. So they have 48 minutes to get to the wedding, and neither one of them has a cell phone to call for help.
Well, just call for help. Give me your cell phone.
My cell phone was in my bag, which you gave to Craig and Eric. Well, you don't have your cell phone?
Yeah, mine got ruined.
How?
You know, fell in a bowl of soup at school.
Josh points out that it's 14 miles to the nearest gas station, which how does he even know that? He gestures like he's pointing to a sign, but there's no sign. Maybe they forgot to add one? I don't know, kinda weird.
Look, maybe I can fix the motor.
You can't fix a sandwich.
So they pop off the hood and take a look inside, and both of them say, yep, that sure is a motor, which is funny as hell. And honestly, same. I'd be about that useful trying to fix a broken down car as well. But I am scratching my head a little bit because in the Dune Buggy episode, didn't Drake and Josh work on that vehicle and fix it up from being completely non-functional to basically being 100% drivable until Drake crashed it, of course? I don't know. It just seems to me that Josh should be a little bit better with cars based off the events of the Dune Buggy episode, but whatever. They realize a belt has come unattached, so Drake tries to start up the car while Josh says he'll hold the belt in place on the pulley thing. But instead, Drake starts up the car before Josh says go, and Josh's sleeves get sucked in and basically swallowed up by the car. First off, this is Josh's karma for slamming Walter's head into a car engine in the Sheep Thrills episode. But also, these two are pretty bad at the whole do it when I say go thing.
Just put the belt back on this pulley thing, and you get in the car, and when I say go, you try to start it. All right, cool.
On 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
The car motor spits out Josh's jacket, now torn into pieces, and Drake tries to rebuild it on Josh's body for a minute, which is actually funny as hell. It's too dark for them to get a good look at the motor now, so Drake says he'll check the glove compartment for a flashlight. And of course, when he goes to try to open the car, he realizes he's locked out. And this is one of the funniest moments in the whole episode to me. There's no dialogue for the moment where Drake tugs on the locked door, and then tries the other door on the passenger side and just shows the panic on his face more and more. It reminds me of Treehouse when they realize they're locked in and just Drake performing the actions of trying to leave and then realizing he's stuck. It's just pure comedy gold. Josh hands Drake a big rock and says, "Kill me," which is funny because I thought the rock was for smashing the car window to unlock the door. But really the punchline is Josh just wants to kill himself.
I'm not gonna hit you in the head with a big rock. Did that hit your foot?
Yeah, it's broken.
Ugh, poor Josh, man. He really gets the most brutal parts of Dirty Dan's foot obsession to come out. In paging Dr. Drake, a weight drops on his foot, and it's broken to the point of needing surgery, and you actually see how disgusting and mutilated it looks. And now in this episode, a heavy rock hits his foot, and it's broken again. With other characters, Dirty Dan just showed off their bare feet at any opportunity. But when it comes to Josh's feet, there always had to be violence involved. What a damn shame. Drake and Josh walk off to go pee real quick, and at that exact moment, 2 cops stroll up and say, "This car is parked here illegally. Let's write him a ticket." The hood is up. Clearly the car is broken down and not parked. Also, how the hell did Drake and Josh not see them? They had only walked off like 1.5 seconds ago. I'm not happy about this. The cops have a whole conversation about how one of them lied about having a wife. They write a whole ass ticket, then go back to their car and drive off. All before Drake and Josh make it back. How much are they peeing? Why did they walk off so far to take a piss when there's trees everywhere? I'm livid. So the cops drive off without Drake and Josh being able to flag them down for help, and they only have 30 minutes now to make it to the wedding. Luckily, another car suddenly pulls up, and the boys instantly start blabbing to these complete strangers about how they're all alone, completely stranded, have no cell phones, and then Josh even pulls out his fucking wallet.
So you guys are stranded out here,
Flagging down strangers.
and you got no cell phones,
And it's just the 2 of you.
alone.
Right. Oh, what are you doing?
Drake and Josh have literally no street smarts at all. I hate to say it, but here I go saying it. Just imagine for a second that Drake and Josh had been 2 teenage girls instead. If they had handled that situation exactly the same, it would have gotten really dark really fast. Let's just say that. So the wedding now starts in less than 15 minutes. They're locked out of the broken down car with no wallets, no cell phone, nothing but a goddamn parking ticket. But luckily, they find an emergency toolkit with a toolbox, and Josh says maybe they can use that to get themselves back inside the locked car.
Seeing you always say Trevor's an idiot.
Okay, we have a quarter, a can of salmon,
Open.
an ice tray, and half a shoe.
I gotta be honest, with the way Trevor was portrayed back in season 1 in the Dune Buggy episode, I think if this episode was realistic, they would have found some rolling papers in there, maybe some weed.
Smoke weed every day.
But luckily, they do find a hanger, and Drake tries to use it to unlock the car. But when he tugs on it, he accidentally punctures Josh right in the eyeball. Gross. But also, this one is Josh's fault. He didn't have to be breathing down Drake's neck like that. Josh hits Drake in the eye as retaliation, which is completely undeserved as Drake hitting him was a total accident. Also, Josh was being dramatic when he said his foot was broken from Drake dropping the rock on him, because he's clearly walking around just fine. Just then, a tow truck happens to pull up. A crazy stroke of luck compared to the entire rest of the episode, and you may recognize the tow truck driver as Barney, the security guard from the Amanda show, who was always chasing after Amanda's #1 fan, Penelope Taint. The boys explain to him that they're locked out of the car, and he says, "Don't worry about that, I can help," and busts out the window, shattering the glass everywhere.
Well, we could have done that.
Well, why didn't you?
The whole time they've been interacting with this tow truck guy, he's cracking jokes left and right, by the way. He sees that Drake and Josh are going to a wedding, and he asks, which one of you's the bride and which one of you's the groom? And he also says, do you guys need a tow? I've got 10 of them. So since he's a big jokester, Drake thinks it's a safe space to joke around and starts making fun of his name, Leslie, once he realizes that's the tow truck driver's name. And I gotta be honest, this scene has always kind of reminded me of Hannah Montana when she finds out her boyfriend Jake is really named Leslie. That's one of the only other male Leslies I've ever heard of. Drake keeps clowning on Leslie for being a girl's name, and the tow truck driver is not impressed at all.
I was named after my father. He was named after his father. And they both fought in wars.
Okay, all I'm saying is I've dated like 5 Leslies. All girls.
Obviously offended, the tow truck driver tells them both to go fuck themselves.
You know, I tell you what, you can rot in a sack for all I care.
No, please, wait, don't leave.
Rot in a sack!
And leaves without helping them. But since the car is at least unlocked now, they decide to try messing with the engine one last time. They give it their best shot and then try starting up the car. And yeah, the whole engine catches on fire. And when they get out to investigate it up close, the car itself catches on fire. Like where they were just sitting! They were seconds away from death! The cake itself even goes up in flames too. And with the entire car burning up and engulfed in flames, they both decide it's time to call it a day and start walking those 14 miles to the nearest gas station. And honestly, that's gonna take like 4 or 5 hours of walking at a steady pace without taking any breaks just for them to get there. Their family might panic when they miss the entire wedding. God forbid they find the burnt to a crisp car before Drake and Josh make it to the gas station and call their family. Audrey and Walter might think their fucking kids burnt up in the car and died in a fiery, crispy death. So I guess Aunt Catherine never ended up getting her wedding cake. But honestly, that's kind of on her. Why would she trust 2 random teenage boy nephews who she isn't even close with to be the ones to deliver her wedding cake? Just hire a fucking delivery service. And as far as the stuck episodes of Drake and Josh go, this one is definitely one of the best. I wouldn't say it beats Treehouse because that one is just another level of iconic, but it's right there at the top. And interestingly, just like Treehouse, which ends with them still trapped in the treehouse when the credits roll, this one also ends without the situation being resolved in any way. In fact, not only are they not getting the beach house from Aunt Catherine, they're also probably gonna have to pay off a debt to Trevor for a long time for roasting his car up in goddamn flames. But enough of me yapping. What do you guys think of the wedding all these years later? Let me know how you're feeling in the comments, and let's kick it. I want to give you guys all a big thank you for 50,000 subscribers, and especially a massive throbbing shout out to my channel and Patreon members, the Agro Army. You guys make my balls tingle. I love each and every one of you. And if you're still here, hey, that's dope. Why not check out some other videos? All right, thanks for listening.